Hey everyone, Ivy Lee Gaming here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, I'm gonna do a hero guide on Falcia. Let's take a deeper look.
The finest blood for the most untainted soul.
So, if you already missed it, I did do a hero guide, well, not a hero guide. I did a first look with her and Island, and looking at the events to come. She is going to be our limited time guaranteed hero, just like the Captain Rev event that we had as well. But yeah, I really wanted to do a proper hero guide where we look through her again, share some extra thoughts since our first look, and yeah, show her off in some content. And I have to say, she really impressed me in pretty basic gear. So I'm very happy with her. Honestly, I kind of expected her to be worse for some reason, but she's actually really solid, and I don't know why I expected her to be bad. So let's take a look. Well, actually, before I do that, I probably should tell you, number one, I am on the test server. This is not to be confused with the Forerunner server or the global server. It's completely different. And as you can see, I am with a little bit of a different setup right now. I am currently traveling. I am in the US for a few days, and I'm gonna pump out some videos while I'm here relaxing in my Airbnb, so my video might not be perfect, my audio might not be perfect, but I did try my best to tune this new microphone on my laptop with the settings, so I hope it's okay, guys, but bear with me for a few days while, yeah, if you see me on this setup, well, you know I recorded this while I was away, but I'll be back to Romania over the weekend, and for now, yeah, let's take a look at these new heroes. So, alright, so Falcia, she, for one, gorgeous look, as we said in the first look video. I'm kind of going to go through things as if I didn't do that video, though, because I do have a few changing opinions, and also some confirmations, I guess you could say. But let's take a look at her overall. So her details. She has just a 1 range in front of her. She's a demon hunter with a sharp strategic mind and an even sharper blade for any occasion. So it's funny, with her demon hunterness and her skills of a demon slaying, she's definitely, well, the anti-nightmare faction, right? She's killing them, not should be part of them. But I do still stand by, for the sake of her kit, it would be, okay, I'm torn. For the sake of her kit being focused around attack speed, and then that true damage thrown in there, of course, is fun. I do kind of wish she was a Nightmare faction hero, but at the same time, I'm glad she's not, because what? How boring would that be? Oh, great. Another, sorry, lag on this when I'm recording. A Nightmare faction fighter. Oh, a Nightmare faction fighter. Oh, a Nightmare faction fighter. We get it, right? Okay, maybe there's too many, so it's probably a good thing that they actually have someone as good as Falcia in a different faction, and she is a part of the Northern faction, which is great because her skills do allow her to do more damage when she's shielded, which is kind of part of the Lord bonus, so it does actually work well that she's one of the Northerners. So let's take a look here at her talent. After performing basic attack 20 times, gains demon slaying stance that lasts for 25 seconds. Additionally, gains specialized attack speed. So demon slaying stance, basic attack will deal an extra 160% true damage. Shadow slash will deal 260% true damage 5 extra times. And then specialized attack speed provides a greater reduction in attack interval based on the attack speed attribute. So you definitely want to build her with some attack speed, in other words. Alright, Shadow Slash deals 160% normal damage 5 times, and 160% magic damage 5 times to one enemy. This is really cool. I love that she's a fighter that can deal magic damage. Definitely great in the areas where you have the heavy armor units that kind of require that, right? Pretty good. That's her ultimate, which is on a manual. Looks pretty cool, honestly, too. Single target attack deals 95% normal damage and 95% magic damage to one enemy. Love that. Her passive, Demon Slayer's Might. When the hero is in Demon Slaying stance, increases damage by 50%. When the hero is shielded, increases damage by an extra 20%. So with the Northern faction, pairing her with your Vortex and having a Soul Day as a tank, and for the Lord bonus is a really, really good synergy set. And then Adrenaline Rush is her other passive. When deployed, immediately enters Demon Slaying stance that lasts for 35 seconds. So she starts off with Demon Slaying stance right away. You don't have to wait 20 times. So she'll have Demon Slaying stance for 35 seconds to begin with. Then when that wears off, she'll start gaining it every 20 attacks, right? But then it lasts for 25 seconds. So by the time you've got that again, I feel like she's got to come back to it pretty quick, right? I feel like there's not much of a downtime. Really, really interesting. I love it. All right, and her awakenings. So Awaken 1 gains a shield with a strength of 2,000% attack speed upon entering Demon Slaying stance, lasting for 10 seconds. That is a really great Awaken 1. I would love to get a second copy of her, if possible. I might debate pulling on her banner after, if I can get her early with the guaranteed, I might keep pulling on the 10 times part of the banner to try to get multiple copies. I'm honestly debating that because I really, really like her. After playing with her on the test server already, I really like her. So Awaken 2 is just an attack increase. Awaken 3, when the hero is in Demon Slaying stance, reduces attack interval by 20%. And then Awaken 4, crit rate plus 8%, and Awaken 5, when the hero is in Demon Slaying stance, she becomes immune to death when receiving fatal damage. When receiving fatal damage. However, once the effect ends, she'll instantly die. So, if she's about to die, she gets a bit of an extra oomph, kind of like a lot of the chaotic faction heroes, honestly. I think that's pretty interesting. I feel like with this in mind, she's probably pretty strong for Arena, but we'll talk about all the spots she's good in more detail after. That's kind of one thing, like I don't do that on the first look videos as much, or at least not in as much detail. But yeah, she's really great. Obviously, you're always going to fully promote, fully star these heroes. You're hardly ever going to use anyone without promotions. That would be very silly in most cases. I do have her fully skilled for the sake of the testing as well. And for artifact, I did put Crystal of Vileness on her. So Crystal of Vileness here, dealing damage has a 40% chance of summoning one Shadow Guard with 80% of the attributes to attack enemies for 10 seconds. The effect can be triggered as often as one time every 20 seconds. This is the one that was suggested in the in-game guide. So if you guys take a look at the in-game resources, like the community tab in-game, or when you go to the guides section from your notices, you can see they have like infographics for a lot of the new characters coming out, and they did make one for her, and they suggested Crystal of Vileness as her artifact. So why not? I figured I'd roll with it. Now for gear, they did pick the Fracture set, which I don't really have the best options for. Do I even have a... Maybe I could actually throw that on her, but right now I'm actually in a mixed set, which includes a couple Fracture pieces, funny enough, but I don't like the Fracture set. I don't think I have a single piece on my account. I think I deleted every single piece of Fracture. Yeah, I actually was going to try to put it on her because they suggest it, but then the only couple pieces I had were from Maul, because they had really good rolls. Now this survivability with this crit rate is not ideal, but it does help keep her alive in the harder levels of things like artifact material raids, so I'm really glad I actually used this piece. You wouldn't normally choose crit rate either. You'd be looking for attack or crit damage, then getting crit rate in the substats. But this is how my cards fell. I did not go crazy with crit damage. You guys know when I do these guides, I like to do them at a more relatable to most people standpoint versus pushing them to the max. So I actually have her in no set. It's a mixed set with just on over 90% crit rate, only plus 63% crit damage, with almost double the plus attack part here, but not quite. This is a little bit weak, honestly. This piece is not ideal, but you know what? I'm going to show you guys what I did with her and I felt so comfortable doing so, and I feel like it really showed how great of a fighter she is. The last person, I think Valeria felt really great in the same role that I used her in, and I feel like Falcia felt even better. I don't know, it was really weird, and this is a mixed set. And then I do have plus 184 on the attack speed. She is definitely focused around attack speed. I would like to get that a solid 200. I would also like to get this plus 9,000 attack at least for her stats here. And then probably, you know, a plus probably 150 crit damage as well would be ideal. So that's kind of what you're looking for with the stats. You kind of want to double your, if your base attack is 4,500, you want plus 9,000. You want to double that or more. And then you're looking for crit rate 90 to 100%, 100% ideally. But I don't have 100% crit rate on hardly anyone, and I seem to do okay. And then crit damage, of course, you can try to pump up your extra crit damage after you worry about your attack and crit rate. And attack speed is important for her kit, so I did go with that. So I do have her in the Whirlwind weapon set, and that's got a really good roll on crit damage, or else I'd have no crit damage on this character right now. But again, really weak gear. Like, look at this. This is not ideal for most, but I kind of liked it because it helped her for some survivability at the same time. So she's not at risk of dying against those hard hits from the boss and artifact material raid, which is where I'm going to show you guys using her. I love her. I was so surprised by her. I just, in very mediocre gear, guys. No, we're not using any of this fancy, no fancy stage 19 gear, just that. And the only other person I'm using her with was, well, you'll see. All right, but let's talk about all the areas she's going to be excelling in or not. So Void Rift, she should do pretty good as a fighter of choice to slot in when you need one or you need to stall a lane. She's going to have great survivability, especially with her little passive that allows her to do a little bit more damage before dying. Oh wait, no, that was only the Awakening, so you probably don't have that. Never mind. But yeah, that was the Awakening. But either way, she seemed to have great survivability, but that's because I gave her some stats with those stats, but it's fine. It helped me in the long run. But dealing magic damage is going to be really helpful in something like Void Rift, so I love it. I also love the idea of using her for probably the single target DPS one here, and maybe even the sustained. I could see using her a bit. She's pretty good as a fighter. Just keep in mind she does not attack airborne units, so anywhere that you need to attack airborne units, she's not going to be your fighter of choice. You're going to have to stick to people like Arrogance or Zillatu for that, or I guess Apson. But yeah, promotion raids, obviously she'll be great. Clan boss, for sure. So the only downside with the guild boss here is, oh yeah, I didn't, as you can tell, I don't do guild boss on this test server. But the only downside with guild boss is she's not part of one of the main faction you'd likely be trying to use for sake of a lord bonus. So like she's not Nightmare, she's not Infernal, and I know people use the Piercer legendary Lord Aracha with some late game if you've got good people like a A5 Calypso that we keep talking about. So she's still going to be solid for guild boss, but I feel like you'd probably boot her out of your team for Valeria instead, or a Salazar instead, because of their value with the Lord bonuses. But so keep that in mind. But if anyone gets her and you don't already have a full team with those strong factions for guild boss, she's gonna be a top tier damage dealer, and that as well. Artifact material raid is where I'm gonna take you guys into, so I'll pause on that thought. Tide, of course, this anything in Tide is just kind of use your best BP, people, not really too complicated there. Resource raids, you're not going to need her. Gear raids. So Gear raid 1, I'm sure you could use her behind the wall for some extra damage if you need to. I love all the different visuals. Look at even the first bosses changed now. Oh gosh, they keep changing things. It's kind of fun though. And then down here, Gear raid 3, again, you're not going to use her because of, well, she doesn't hit airborne units. Gear raid 2, no, yes. She can definitely be one of the main fighters that you slot in to take out some of those waves in Gear raid 2. So definitely a place we can use her. And then, of course, Faction Trials. She's going to be amazing for the Northerners because there's not a lot of great DPS for fighters and stuff there, so having a good ground unit that can pump out some damage is going to be huge for that faction and probably be a very key role for helping you beat the highest stages as they've released in the faction trials. So, all right, so let's head in here. Artifact Material Raid, stage 17, my favorite stage because stage 18 is a bit too hard for most people anyway, and you really need some good survivability as well as damage, which often means those really strong stage 19 gear sets to really pump out the extra damage and be able to sacrifice some of that by getting more HP so you don't die. But stage 17 has always been pretty attainable, and it's kind of my go-to test to see how fighters are going to hang compared to each other. Like, Kaneza was so disappointing here, but Valeria was a beast and did a really solid job. So I actually already tested her here and was very happy. Falcia, I mean. So let's go ahead in here. We've got a team here with a Solde as a Lord, which is great for her. And then we have a Vortex as well, who's great for her. And then we have Wrath on the other side with the extra Nightmare fighters. We kind of have Mariel and Scorch as extra backup. And Volka's in here as well. She'll do a little bit of damage and help the team. But mostly she's just in here for the bonus and just as a attainable fighter. I do have Brokir as a defender here, but you also could use Oleg. I just don't have Oleg built at the moment, so I'm kind of been using Brokir on one side, but really you don't need Brokir. It's just you need a solid defender that's going to stop people. And that's all Brokir does. He just stops people. No damage, which is why I like Azor better, because he does more damage. But that's a guide for another video. I really need to do a hero guide on Azor, seeing I think I'm the only person that loves him. Alright, so boss coming in. We're going to go ahead, boom. And then we're going to go right away and place our Falcia and our Wrath. As soon as the ultimates pop behind me, we're going to pop them. Or as soon as the ultimates are ready, boom, we're popping her immediately. She already has a shield up. So we're also going to put up Vortex to start healing everybody. He covers both sides here, but he won't cover the other side. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and put Azor on this side because more enemies are coming first. I think, oh, actually, no, they both come at the same time. It's fine. So she's distracted, spun around. We're going to get another defender over there. Don't you worry. We're going to let Brokir and Azor, the Ice Fire and Ice Brothers, defend our fighters that are attacking our boss. All right, we're going to boom, boom, let's go. And then we're going to go ahead and put Volka up here. That'll give our attack speed bonus to our other Nightmare fighters. All right, we're popping our ultimates. Let's go, Brokir. And I'm going to put Scorch over on the other side just to get that final attack speed bonus. Actually, we already have the attack speed bonus. Never mind. When they die, I'll switch them out for defenders because they will die. Especially if it gets crazy. But look how good we're doing. It's solid. It's really solid. And now we just need Falcia to hurry up and get her ultimate ready. And this will be game over. So Brokir, you just stay there and protect our girl. Don't let Falcia get distracted. Boom, boom, boom. And let's finish off the boss. Let's do it. You go, girl. Love her. Very easy run and nobody died. What is that? Nobody died. I even have Scorch and a Volka that's probably half-ass built up at the top to prevent the mobs coming down. It really makes a big difference, though, when you are using those attack speed bonuses to help Wrath out. So this is great. Look at our girl. So up here, we have Falcia doing the main damage, Wrath doing some solid damage too, and hey, look at Azor. Azor's helping. He did more. Obviously, the other people we placed later, but Azor did pretty good extra help. Like, Brokir was in there just as long and does no damage. Like, Brokir just doesn't do damage. But I have, he just stands there like an icy brick, right? But I have Azor with a little bit of crit rate, so that really helps to help kill the mobs as well. And yeah, this is kind of an easy team, right? Really solid. Nobody is in stage 19 gear, and it just shows how good she is. So I think my final thoughts on her are that I am impressed. I expected her to be worse for some reason, but I really like the synergy with the Northern faction in the end, and I'm kind of glad there's not just another Nightmare fighter to add to the mix. There's like plenty of Nightmare fighters. We don't need them anymore. There's plenty to choose from, and they're all really freaking good. So it's nice to have her, and I really think she'll be great in a lot of areas of the game. I kind of underestimated her, but she surprised me. Can she beat and hang? Can she hang, I should say, in the higher stages? Maybe once. I mean, she has solid HP, so she's probably not going to die too bad, but I think the stage 18 of Artifact Material Raid is a serious gear check to kind of balance out your damage and your survivability, so it's a lot harder. But definitely a great hero. Anywhere you're gonna need a fighter, I feel like she's solid for. And that will probably include Guild Boss for those that don't have a full team of like Nightmare and or Infernal, for example, that you're really focusing. So great hero. I hope this was helpful, guys. I really like her, and I would love to get a couple copies of her. And I will be pulling for the guaranteed event, so you'll see my summons there soon. And I'll see you in the next video.